Hi, welcome to Rooted Heart Homestead. My name's Kim, and this is our life. Windy this week. I am hoping to get outside to shoot some video, but we'll see what happens. But I wanted to share with you an event that happened that was kind of scary. It's something that just shows that even though I like to take a more relaxed approach to homesteading, I still have to be careful. This week, one of my chick breeders tried to catch on fire, and I caught it. Everything's fine. The idea with having the outdoor chick brooders is that it creates a space where we can have both indoor space for them chicks to be when they're little, and then once they start to get like 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old, they can go outside. Well, they've started going in and out, and so I'm out there more. I'm opening the lid and closing it more, and because we've had a couple of nights that are just down to like 22 degrees, 23 degrees. It's just cold enough, and they have a heat plate, but they're getting bigger and they don't all fit under it because they are getting bigger, because they don't necessarily need the heat plate anymore. But with the cold temperatures, I just want to make sure that we have the least stressed out birds. You don't want your meat birds to be all stressed out. I put the heat lamp in there. I only had one, and then I found one in our barn. Our barn is full of older equipment that is, some of it's working, some of it's not. It's not stuff that was ours personally, but that we've just slowly collected from different people and places. I thought, great, now I have 2 heat lamps. This will take care of that for those cold nights. It's been working fine. It's been out there for a couple weeks. And I didn't zip tie it to the top because it had a nice clip that was really strong. I had kind of messed around with it, not a problem. The clip exploded. I don't know what happened. I also think something else happened as I was looking at it after I put out the fire and took care of all the things that go with that, getting all the charred bedding out and making sure there was nothing smoldering in there. I looked at the lamp itself, and down inside, it had really melted. But by God's grace, nobody was hurt. None of the chicks are hurt. What it did do is it burned through the cord on my heat plate. Now, this is one of the reasons why we chose to use heat plates, was because of the fire hazard that goes with heat lamps. It just confirms for me that yes, I do want to use the heat plates, and sometimes I don't need to panic over the coldness, or even saying let's get meat birds a little bit later in the year. I always figure what is one thing I can learn from this experience? And for me, the learning from this experience is that I need to use my heat plates. I had done my research. I had looked for things that would work well, and I bought things that would work well. And in an effort to not have my birds as stressed, I thought, let's just add a heat lamp, make it easier. And that worked too, but I need to make sure and use a good heat lamp. So I'm going to do some research on heat lamps. I know Premier One has a nice heat lamp. I've used one of theirs before for my mother-in-law, and I'm going to see what I can find. But thankfully, like I said before, none of the birds were hurt. None of that ended up happening, but it was a little crazy for the morning, and then a lot of pondering this afternoon. So I will take you guys on a tour of the coops, hopefully next. I'm going to show you guys real quick the damage to the heat plate. Like I said, we can replace this cord. It's not a big deal. My husband will be able to fix that, but yep, melted right through it. It was kind of crazy. Hey guys, let's do a real quick tour of the coops. It's still windy, but the weather is nice for me to be walking out here. It's not too cold. So right now we have 3 chicken coops. Here's some of our chickens. So these 4 escape on a regular basis. We're working on it. We'll see what they do. I don't know. I'm hoping that they'll quit escaping. These are our chick brooders. My husband built them for me last spring. And inside are the babies, which are not tiny anymore, actually. As you can see, despite our craziness, I did go ahead and put back in a heat lamp because they need a little something. It's still cold. But they are now 3 weeks old. And I have enough space in here to have 20 meat birds in here at a time. I don't like to max it out. Hey, guys, settle down. I don't like to max it out. There's right now 17 in here, and I just plug in the heat lamp or a heat plate and put it in, and they have plenty of space to roam about. We have their door here, which opens up to the outside. They're gonna go fly everywhere, which allows them to go out, in and out as they please. And there's still plenty of space in here where if they don't want to go outside, they don't have to. Oh, looks like we might have one that wants to go outside. There was a couple earlier that were very happy out there. Again, I apologize for the wind. Then we have the outdoor space, which also allows them more roaming space and running space. The idea is this gets them on pasture as soon as possible. And we have 2 of these, which allow for me to have 40 meat birds at a time. I find that any more, and it would be really hard for me to butcher them. I do all the butchering personally myself. If I can find a buddy to help me butcher that works a little bit better, and then I'm not doing it all myself, but I do all my own butchering. And I've actually found that I don't necessarily enjoy it, but the process is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I love seeing these birds enjoy their pasture. So good to see them picking at things and just being birds. Even though they're meat birds, they get to enjoy this pasture, and I specifically plant my pasture for them. This is what it looks like when it's all closed up. These guys don't have as many feathers as these ones do, so I haven't let them out yet. Next week they'll be getting out, but you can see it still has this. The door in the front allows for air to go in and out, so they have a vent, and it also provides safety at night. We have found that raccoons will reach their hand in and pull on birds. I've had birds with broken necks before. It's been very sad. So one of the things that I didn't talk about was future chicken plans, and we kind of have a big one. So I bought a thing the other day. It's large. And it gets plastic over the top of it. It's got doors on each end. And it's this massive mobile coop that works for 500 chickens at a time. I'm not going to use it for that many. Never going to happen. But this is one of our future chicken spaces. I did not have anywhere to put my meat birds once they got past 5 or 6 weeks old, other than this little thing here. It worked last year. It will work this year for some things. You can hear our rooster in the background. But this is going to work much better. So this solved 2 problems for me. First problem was, where do I put my chickens? And the second problem it solved was, how can I start seeds sooner? So the idea is, during the spring, summer, and fall, it will hold chickens. And then during the winter and early spring, it will actually be a greenhouse for us to be able to grow more vegetables for our family. is Josie's chicken coop. I'll let her take you guys on a tour of that coop because that is her responsibility.
Tuna, I picked them. So this is my chicken coop. My dad built it and I helped nail in the boards. And I would like to show you the inside of it. So inside, we have the roosty toosties, my feeders, my water, and then the nest boxes. There's eggs in that one. I have 11 chickens and 3 turkeys right now. 1 rooster, 10 hens, and 3 turkeys. Come on, Miss B.
All right,
Miss B.
let's get out of here. And then you can talk about your chickens outside.
So, with 11 chickens, I am trying to collect different types of breeds. So right now I have 1 Americana, 3 Isa Browns, 1 Dorking Rooster, 2 Brahmas, 1 Lunghem, and 1 Mystic Marand, and then a Silky. So the reason why we have to be quiet around Silky is because right now she's brooding, which means she is gonna hatch her own eggs that we've given her. This is what she's been brooding for 1 week entirely, and it takes 3 weeks for a chicken to brood.
The other area that I am working towards getting ready to use for our poultry is actually this one right here. We have this barn here, which used to be, back in the old days when this was very first going, a pig pen. And we've always called it the pig pen. So it's got a concrete floor, but it's been stuffed full of different tools and such that need basically a new place to live so that we can fence the ground that I'm walking on right now and put our turkeys out here full time. Turkeys are one of the animals that I'm actually really looking forward to having on our homestead year round. We currently have 3 wild turkeys because we hatched them out last year when my husband said, "Hey, babe, I found a wild turkey nest and we're gonna mow over it out in our field." He's a blueberry farmer, and when the husband says they find things, you're like, hey, let's try and hatch them out. So we actually were able to toss them in our neighbor's incubator and hatched out some turkeys. They're sweet. I feel like they keep things in control. Actually, little kind of like guard dogs for our chickens. They do a good job, but now that they're so big, they need their own space. And so we've decided to invest in a few different breeds for our farm, and those will be coming in May. And so we need to get this space here ready before then. We want to have the best space possible for these turkeys so that they can thrive and survive. One thing turkeys really love that we have found is shade and trees. They love to be up in trees. It's one of their favorite things. So we thought, what space do we have on our tiny homestead that we can give them that tree space that they need? And this was one of them. So I've said we're adding turkeys to our homestead as a permanent year-round animal. What I haven't said is that there are all sorts of other animals that we're interested in adding to our homestead, that we want to see this place grow and become this beautiful piece of land that we can live off of and also bless other people with the things we grow here. The end goal is to be a fully organic, sustainable permaculture homestead. Does that happen in a year? No. But that's kind of the fun of going along and doing this. I'm glad you guys came and hung out with me for another week. Look forward to seeing you next week.